Hello and welcome to Wealth Waves, where we ride the waves of financial knowledge together. Today we dive deep into the ocean of history to explore the fascinating journey of money. Our story begins in a world where money didn't exist. Imagine that. You're a skilled potter, but you want a loaf of bread. So you'd have to find a baker who needs a pot. This is known as the barter system, the earliest form of trade where goods were exchanged directly for other goods. But it had its share of problems. What if the baker doesn't need a pot? What if he wants a pair of shoes instead? This issue, known as the double coincidence of wants, made trade cumbersome and inefficient. As societies grew more complex, so did their needs. People started using objects with intrinsic value as a medium of exchange. We call this commodity money. This was anything that had value in itself and was widely accepted in trade. Shells, beads, even cattle were used as money. But these too had their limitations. They were bulky, perishable, and their value wasn't uniform. Then came a game changer. Precious metals. Gold, silver, and copper became the universal measures of wealth. They were durable, divisible, and most importantly, rare, which gave them high value. People began using metal coins, stamped with a seal to denote their value. But even this system had its flaws. Coins were heavy and difficult to transport in large quantities. There was also the risk of theft. So, the quest for a more manageable way to trade led us to the birth of currency, a concept that revolutionized commerce. This marked a major milestone in human history, a shift that would forever change how people interacted, traded, and even how societies were structured. Not to mention, it set the stage for the evolution of money into the forms we know and use today. And that, dear listeners, is the dawn of currency, the birthplace of a concept that would one day become a cornerstone of our modern world. So stay tuned as we continue our journey through the annals of financial history, riding the waves of knowledge on Wealth Waves. With precious metals becoming a cumbersome way to trade, societies looked for a lighter yet valuable alternative, leading to the birth of paper money. Now let's travel back in time to the Tang dynasty in China, around the 7th to 10th centuries. The Chinese were the first to introduce paper money, an innovation spurred by the inconvenience of carrying around hefty amounts of copper coins. Paper money, known as jiaozi, was initially used by merchants and wholesalers who didn't want to lug around their heavy coins. The government soon recognized the convenience of this paper substitute and took over the issuance of the paper notes, making it an official currency. But how did this idea make its way to Europe? Well, it's all thanks to the famous Silk Road, a network of trade routes connecting the East and West. As the Chinese traded their silks and spices, they also introduced their paper money to the Europeans. This concept was a revelation for the European merchants and travelers who were used to dealing with unwieldy gold and silver coins. By the 17th century, European countries began to adopt this form of currency, with Sweden being the first European nation to issue paper money. However, there was a catch. This money was not just paper, it was a promise that it could be exchanged for a certain amount of gold or silver. This system, known as the gold standard, was established to maintain trust in the paper currency. It meant that for every piece of paper money in circulation, there was an equivalent amount of gold stored away in the national treasury. But as we know, promises can be broken, and soon enough the gold standard began to wane in favor of fiat money, a currency that is not backed by any physical commodities, but by the trust and confidence of the people and the economy. The advent of paper money was a significant leap forward, but it was just the beginning of a much larger financial evolution. As societies evolved, so did our financial systems. The gold standard was abandoned, and we moved into an era of fiat currency. So, what exactly is fiat money? In contrast to commodity money like gold or silver coins, fiat money isn't backed by a physical commodity. Instead, it's based on the trust and confidence of the people who use it. That's right, the value of the paper in your wallet or the digits in your bank account comes from our collective belief in its worth. This trust is reinforced by the government, which declares fiat money to be legal tender. This means it must be accepted as a form of payment within the country, settling all debts, public and private. In other words, the government itself backs the money, not gold, not silver, but the credibility and stability of the political system. Now let's talk about the role of central banks in this system. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve in the United States or the Bank of England, have the power to control the money supply. They do this in a few ways, including setting interest rates and using tools like open market operations. You see, when the economy is slow, central banks can increase the money supply to stimulate spending. Conversely, when the economy is overheating, they can reduce the money supply to keep inflation in check. Speaking of inflation, it's a key concept in the modern monetary system. It refers to the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and subsequently, purchasing power is falling. Central banks attempt to limit inflation and avoid deflation in order to keep the economy running smoothly. Fiat money backed by trust has become the backbone of our modern economies, but the story of money doesn't end here. In the digital age, money too has evolved into a digital form, revolutionizing transactions and introducing us to the world of cryptocurrency. As we catapulted into the 21st century, the need for a more convenient, fast and secure form of transaction became apparent. Enter digital money. No longer did we need to carry around physical cash or write checks. A few taps on our smartphones and voila! Money transferred, bills paid, purchases made. This digital revolution has not only simplified transactions, but also democratized them, enabling anyone with an internet connection to participate in the global economy. But the digital frontier didn't stop with online banking and credit cards. It took a leap into the unknown, the uncharted territory of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, like the popular Bitcoin, is more than just digital money. It's a whole new approach to financial transactions. Cryptocurrencies are decentralized, meaning they aren't controlled by a central authority like a government or financial institution. Instead, they operate on a technology called blockchain, a digital ledger that records each transaction across many computers. This decentralization makes cryptocurrencies incredibly secure and virtually immune to fraud, a characteristic that sets them apart from traditional money. The rise of Bitcoin and its fellow cryptocurrencies has been nothing short of meteoric. From being the obscure brainchild of an anonymous programmer, Bitcoin has grown into a global phenomenon, a digital asset that has sparked endless debates and inspired countless imitations. But cryptocurrencies are not without their challenges. Their volatile nature, regulatory uncertainties, and the potential for misuse have led to skepticism and caution. Yet they continue to thrive, promising a future where money is not just a physical entity, but a digital concept, a symbol of our ever-evolving society. From beads and shells to digital bits, the journey of money reflects our own evolution as a society. As we stand on the brink of this digital frontier, it's fascinating to imagine what the future of money might hold. So, that's a quick ride on the wave of the history of money. We've journeyed from the dawn of currency, where goods and services were swapped in a barter system, to the birth of paper money backed by precious metals. We navigated the turbulent seas of the modern monetary system, where money became a concept, a promise no longer tied to physical commodities. And finally, we've dipped our toes into the virtual waters of digital money and cryptocurrencies. Throughout these eras, one constant has been the key role of trust and confidence. Regardless of its form, money has always been a system of belief, an agreement among its users about its value. Thank you for diving into the ocean of knowledge with Wealth Waves. Remember, understanding money is the first step to mastering it. Don't forget to subscribe and ride along with us on more exciting financial journeys. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.